Marriage should be about two whole individuals coming together.
Totally.
Not two halves trying to become one.
Right. And another big one is unplanned pregnancy.
Oh, yeah.
Like thinking that having a baby automatically equals love or readiness for a lifelong commitment. But it doesn't.
And he's very clear about that.
Yeah.
He says, while a child is a blessing, bringing a baby into a relationship that's already struggling is only going to amplify the existing problems.
Yeah.
It's like trying to build a house on a shaky foundation.
Right. Yeah.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to end well.
Nope. So what do you think is the common thread in all these bad reasons for getting married?
It seems like
What's the pattern?
it's all stemming from like a place of self-centeredness.
Yes.
Right.
You got it.
It's all about like fulfilling your own needs.
Right.
Avoiding those uncomfortable feelings
Mm-hmm.
rather than like
Yeah.
genuinely wanting to like build a life with someone else.
That's it.
It's all about me, me, me.
That's the problem.
Okay, so then what are some of the good reasons to get married?
Okay, well,
According to Munroe, like what makes for a solid foundation?
he talks about things like wanting to express agape love, which is a major concept in his book.
Yeah.
It's this like unconditional, selfless love
Mm-hmm.
that seeks the other person's good
Yeah.
above all else. You know,
Okay.
it's the kind of love that God shows us.
Right.
And he's arguing that marriage should be a reflection of that.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Can you unpack that idea of agape love a little more? It sounds a bit abstract.
Oh, okay. Think about it in terms of actions, not just feelings.
Mm-hmm.
It's about like actively choosing to put your partner's needs before your own.
Yeah.
Even when it's hard, you know?
Yeah.
It's about forgiveness, grace, and a willingness to go the extra mile,
Yeah.
even when you don't feel like it. It's
Well,
very different from the, I don't know, romantic,
Yeah.
fleeting kind of love our culture glorified.
Right, I see what you mean. It's less about the initial spark
Mm-hmm.
and more about like the steady burn that keeps a relationship warm even through tough times.
Yeah, you got it.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
And it seems like the key difference between those healthy motivations
Right.
and the unhealthy ones we talked about earlier
Mm-hmm.
is that these are rooted in selflessness,
Yes,
not selfishness.
exactly.
And speaking of building a life together,
Right.
Munroe has a really interesting take
Yeah.
on vows,
Oh, yeah.
which is something that I think often gets overlooked
It's
in like our modern understanding of relationships,
absolutely.
but he dives deep into their significance.
Yeah, he emphasizes that vows are not just promises to each other,
Oh,
but to God.
okay.
He's a witness to the covenant,
Right.
which raises the level of commitment
Yeah.
and accountability.
Wow. So breaking those vows isn't just about hurting your partner.
Right.
There are spiritual consequences too.
That's exactly what he's saying.
Wow.
And to illustrate this in a way that people can relate to,
Okay.
he compares marriage to a job.
Okay.
Think about it. You don't just quit your job at the first sign of difficulty, do you?
Right. No.
There's a commitment to the work,
Yeah.
to the company,
Right.
to fulfilling your responsibilities,
Yeah.
even when it's challenging.
That's a really good comparison.
Right.
I like that. So are you saying that sticking it out in a tough marriage
Yeah.
is like sticking it out in a challenging job? Like, there's value in persevering.
Yes, that's what he's saying.
Okay.
He says that marriage is about something bigger than our feelings
Okay.
and desires.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant to refine us,
Okay.
to shape us into better people.
Right.
Just like staying in a challenging job, well,
Yeah.
can ultimately lead to growth
Right.
and skills.
That's a powerful way of looking at it.
It is, isn't it?
It's not about seeking that constant happiness or avoiding conflict. It's
Mm.
about choosing to grow
Mm-hmm.
and evolve through the challenges.
Exactly. And that leads to one of the most thought-provoking
Okay.
concepts in the book, what Munroe calls the garden context.
Now I'm really curious.
Yeah.
What is this garden all about? Tell me more.
Well, he's essentially talking about the spiritual dimension of marriage.
Yeah.
He says a marriage where both people are genuinely connected to God. It's like being inside a garden.
Okay.
It's not just about going to church or having religious beliefs.
Right.
It's about allowing your faith to permeate every aspect of your relationship.
I see. So it's about aligning your marriage with like God's principles.
Yes.
And allowing your faith to guide you in your decisions and how you interact with each other.
Exactly.
And what's so interesting is that
Yes.
he points out that even people who identify as Christians
Right.
can unknowingly adopt worldly values
Yeah.
and mindsets about marriage.
Absolutely. It makes you question your own assumption.
It does.
Like, am I truly living out my faith in my marriage,
Right.
or am I just going through the motions?
Wow, that's a powerful point.
It is.
It makes you really think.
It does.
And it raises some really important questions for all of us.
It does, yeah.
What does it really mean to have a marriage that's inside the garden?
Right.
What are the signs, and how do we get there?
Those are good questions.
Yeah, those are some things to really ponder as we continue this deep dive.
I agree. Yeah, it really is a journey.
Yeah.
And Munroe gives us some really helpful guidance along the way.
Okay.
One of the things he talks about is how, for a marriage to be inside the garden, you really have to understand why God created marriage in the first place.
Okay, so it's about more than just finding a partner.
Right.
And, living happily ever after.
Exactly.
There's a bigger purpose.
He takes us all the way back
Yeah.
to the creation story in Genesis.
Okay.
Where God created man and woman in his image.
Yeah.
And it's not just about companionship.
Okay.
God tells them to be fruitful.
Right.
And multiply.
Yeah.
Fill the earth and subdue it.
So there's this element of purpose.
Yes.
And responsibility.
That's right.
Baked into marriage, right from the start.
Absolutely. And it's not just about having kids and expanding the population.
Right.
The concept of filling the earth goes deeper than that. It's about reflecting God's image in the world.
Okay.
And using our unique gifts and talents to have a good impact.
I'm starting to see how this connects back to the garden idea.
Yeah.
Like, if marriage is meant to be a reflection of God's love and creative power, then it makes sense that it would involve more than just, personal fulfillment.
Exactly. It's about partnership.
Yeah.
Collaboration. Leveraging your combined strengths to fulfill a greater purpose.
And that part about subduing the earth implies this level of stewardship over God's creation.
Exactly.
Right. Like, it's not just about conquering or exploiting the earth.
It's about taking care of it.
Right.
Responsibly.
And Munroe actually gets pretty practical here.
He does.
When he talks about what he calls kingdom management principles for couples.
Yeah, I like that section.
Okay, so what's that about?